Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be going over Jackwagon Racing League round 5 at Abu Dhabi. Apologies for not making a video for quite some time. I had a bunch of races and then I went out of town for a funeral and then I just got back a couple days ago. So I'm just going to be uploading quite a bit over the next 2 days or so. I'm just going to kind of grind these out and get them all uploaded because I've got like 4 or 5 videos to make. So hope you guys stay tuned for that. But looking at the Drivers' Championship after Spain, the last race on the F125 cars, now moving over to the 2026 cars, we managed to come in P1, and that will allow us to have a nice 14-point gap over Nova, who is our current rival for the championship. After this race, or actually starting this race, apologies, Babs moved from reserve to our teammate at VCarb, so we'll be keeping an eye on him to see if he can get some good points for us in the Constructors Championship. Whoops, that is the wrong thing. Hold on, we'll pull up the Constructors Championship real quick. There we go. All right, this is the Constructors Championship here. Does look like even after our well, whatever, we'll leave this in. I don't really care too much. After the Spanish Grand Prix, we are 4 points back from the Haas team. They've had some pretty good races, and then our race in Spa wasn't very good, so that did affect us quite a bit, but we'll try and see what we can do here at Abu Dhabi. So let's go ahead and hop straight into qualifying. All right, so here we are on board to start our last lap of qualifying. First 2 runs, it was pretty comfortable. So I just decided that I wouldn't include them. We just look at this last run. A bit of a scrappy final corner, but you know, it wasn't the end of the world, as you'll see going into this lap. Up about a quarter of a tenth going to the first sector, now up to about half a tenth. The margins are pretty tight here. I'm still relatively far off the pace in terms of actually being competitive with higher level players, but I feel like this wasn't necessarily a terrible lap. So we deploy the battery down to 20%, going down towards this corner here. We take a half lift going into the corner to recharge battery. Get a little bit too aggressive over that curve, so that this costs us a little bit of time. But going down the second straight here, we deploy again up into 8th gear and down to about 20%, and then we take another little half lift going into this corner. And you just want to make sure that you get on the battery early, as if you wait a little bit too long to get on the battery, you actually end up losing a lot of time. Deploy down to 0%, as we're not going to be using a whole lot of battery in this next part of the track. Careful not to get the track limits on the right side there, and we'll go ahead and deploy the battery now back down to 0% again as we go into the final corner. This final corner being a little bit tricky, us getting it a little bit wrong there and losing a little bit of time, but because of the track grip,
is not a bad lap.
We did manage to do a good job. I think my PB was a 22.9, so definitely could have been better, but all things considered, cannot be upset with that lap. So let's look at the qualifying standings after the end of qualifying. So looking at the standings after qualifying, we do come in P1, 5 tenths ahead of second place, and then Dulac in third place, and the Mercedes is just a couple hundredths behind Puffball. Importantly, Nova did qualify P5, and his teammate is nowhere to be found. And Babs, our teammate, actually had a great qualifying. He qualified P7, so we'll be keeping an eye on him to see what he can do going into the race. For us, our strategy is going to be don't get wing damage, don't get into an accident, and hopefully our pace advantage should be enough to keep us in the lead. So let's hop into the race and see how things go. Here we are on board, parking the car up back on the grid. You joined at the perfect time. You can hear me talking to the chat. Like I said, our strategy is just going to be to not get damage. So 5 red lights coming on to go racing around Abu Dhabi here in JWRL. And they're out, and we get a pretty decent start. We managed to stay ahead of Puffball going into turn 1. Let's see if we can't maintain that gap as we forget to switch our battery down going into the second part of the lap. Dulac managing to get past the Ferrari of Puffball Panda, which is great for us. And you can hear me saying that because if these guys lose a second gap on the first lap, that's going to be fantastic for us because that will allow us to have the guys behind will have yellow battery and we'll have yellow battery, which means that it'll be very difficult for them to catch back up to us so long as they don't work together to kind of like how DRS swapping worked back in 2025. But you can see the gap now, 1.1 seconds going into the third sector here right out of this corner, so we can see if we can't maintain this gap going into the last part of the lap, because if we could, that would be absolutely fantastic for our race. So let's go into the final sector, getting this corner hooked up pretty well. Going a little bit deep there, but no harm, no foul, as we are now 1.3 seconds up on Puffball going into the final corner here. And so through the first lap, we have maintained that big gap, and it has just almost gone up to 2 seconds. So let's see if anything changes as we continue in this race. Okay, so here we are on lap 13. The first couple of laps were just us kind of driving away from the field. We had managed to build about a 5-second gap. So we're coming into pit now. Just waited for everybody else to pit just in case there was a safety car or something like that. We did leave ourselves vulnerable to the undercut, but I think the 5-second gap was
nice and casual
enough. And if we ended up getting behind Puffball, then we could, you know, realistically just pass him because we would have much fresher tires than he would. Coming out of the pit lane now, our pit box,
by Puffball, but we should be able to get him back.
It is a little bit close here going down the pit exit. We do go a little bit deep here in the pit exit, but you'll see that it doesn't end up making that big of a difference as we come out of the pit box ahead of him. We do almost cross over the white line on pit exit. That could have been dangerous, but going into the 14th lap here, we do end up maintaining our lead. So let's see if anything else changes. Here we are on board for the final lap of the race. 15 laps of pretty much just driving by ourselves up front. As you can see, we pulled a 12-second gap to second place, and the rest of the field is pretty far back. So a very dominant performance from us as we come to the final sector here to come across the line in P1.
Yeah, the car can't take that.
So a very, very good race from us overall, coming across the line to finish in first place. So let's hop into the results for the rest of the field. Here are the final standings, or the classification for Abu Dhabi. We came home to finish in first place ahead of Dulac and the Mercedes. Soulfly and the Red Bull coming in third, rounding out the podium. Ironsides and the Ferrari coming in fourth. Maximo coming in fifth place, Bergie sixth, Big B seventh, and Nova Snapping, our championship rival, down in eighth place, and Babs, our teammate, finishing in the points. So a very, very good race from him. Doom Tour rounding out the top 10, and then Doritos, Affinity, Gold Killer, and Lair rounding out 11th, 12th, 13th, and 14th. Fastest lap going to Doom Tour, doing a 126.036. Very good result from us. It was kind of a quiet race, so I'm sorry this is going to be a really, really short video, but there really wasn't anything to speak of in this race, so I figured I would just save you guys having to watch me just drive circles around the track. So that'll do it for round 5. Next round is going to be at Japan. I don't think that'll be my next video because I still have to do the Formula Fan Championship recap and then PTRL, but we will come back to Japan probably tomorrow is when I'll have the video done. So I will see you guys then. Thank you for watching.